Hello, friend. I'm glad you can come by. Welcome to the Celebrity Comedy Interview Show by Scott Renz. That is I. And you? How are you? Well, we have a special show for you today. It's Olly Orth. Yeah, he's doing his presentation to a live audience. Well, let's have no further ado. Let's cut right over to Olly Orth.
What's your names? I kind of like this new job. I used to be in the music industry. You might have heard of me. I was the Beatles. Yeah, that was kind of fun. But you probably remember me best from my acting career. I was Michael J. Fox. I'm doing this now. I did have another job for a couple of weeks first. I was a doctor, but I didn't like that job so much. No, all my customers were sick, and the ones who weren't sick, something wrong with them. At least with you guys, you can all be a bunch of sickos, and I wouldn't have to know about it. No, don't tell me. I don't want to hear it. But can you imagine that? You think you got this great job, making $1 million a year, and all it is a bunch of sick people coming in, telling you how sick they are? What do they want me to do about it? I was wondering, anybody here know where a woman's yet is located? Yeah, I was reading an article in the newspaper, and it said this woman was in the hospital with a gunshot wound, but the doctors hadn't taken the bullet out of her yet. I don't know, maybe they were waiting for a lady doctor to come along. For my next job, I was thinking of being a nuclear physicist. Think that'll be a fun one? Yeah, I think so too. You get to smash atoms and stuff, and play around with the Big Bang, and make quasars out there at the end of the universe. Yeah, that should be fun. Oh, wait a minute.
Astrophysicist.
Oh, you suppose you need a license for that? I better check that first. Yeah, I used to have a license. Yeah, it fell off of an old pickup truck that was passing by. Yeah, I still got it, mounted on my bedroom wall from the state of New Hampshire. And you know how they have that state motto or something down at the bottom of it? Live free or die, it says on it. Yeah, you just try that. And they arrest you for committing suicide without a license. Well, at least they wouldn't if you were that guy with the pickup truck. Maybe I better send that back to him. I'd sure hate for him to get arrested committing suicide without a license and all that. Well, when I first learned to drive, I wasn't doing half bad. Until I came to the first curve in the road, I swerved off the road. And a police officer came along and arrested me for reckless driving. I tried to explain to him, but officer, I was merely parking the car here. He says to me, are you trying to tell me you intentionally parked your car upside down? Well, you know what I was saying about Michael J. Fox before? I was just kidding. I knew I couldn't pull that one off. No, my feet are too big. I tell you guys. Say, have you guys got any pet peeves? I have a pet peeve. Low doorways. I don't know what it is about them. They just give me a headache. Now, I don't mind the standard doorways, mind you. I cruise right under them. Unless they got that stupid door closing mechanism smacking me from behind. Don't you just hate that? In fact, next time you go to the store, you'll know if I've been in there before you. Just look for that meat and hair hanging from the door closing mechanism. Well, I wasn't always this tall though. No, I used to be 5'6" when I was born. My mother didn't like that too much. It took me 3 days to come out. I was born February 10th, 11, and 12. I just had a headache after that. But I'm pretty sure she forgives me now. Because when I graduated high school, she tried to help me get a job. Yeah. She wrote letters on my behalf. Dear draft board, when are you going to get this kid out of here? I was pretty worried about that draft, though.
the way they did it, they put all the birthdays in a barrel and drew them out by lottery. And I had 3 birthdays. So I get worrying about that draft. I got thinking, and I was thinking about going to Canada and stuff, you know, but then I realized I can't go to Canada. No, I'd starve to death up there. Yeah, I go to a restaurant, I go to order something. How am I going to order anything off their menu? I don't speak Canadian. Then I was thinking maybe my big feet would keep me out, you know? Yeah, I don't know why people are amazed that I have such big feet. I mean, I'm doorway tall. How big a feet do you think I'm going to have? But speaking of big feet, that reminds me of the time I had to go up to the Pacific Northwest. They got some strange people up there. Yeah, the kids would follow me around everywhere I went. And they shoot slingshots at me and stuff, yelling, Bigfoot! Bigfoot! Huh. Talk about being prejudiced. No, you know, I kept trying to think of ways out of that draft, you know. Finally, it came to me. In a brilliant flash, I joined the Army! That sure pulled them. At least so I thought. About halfway through boot camp, I got a letter from my mother saying, my draft notice came. Son of a gun, they got me after all. So I went to my drill sergeant and I explained to him, you know, sorry, it's been fun and everything, Sergeant, but I gotta leave, I've been drafted. Long boy, he says. That's what he used to call me, long boy. I just, because of my feet. Long boy, what are you, some sort of comedian? You get over there. Practice the hand grenade throwing yourself. Anyway, eventually they sent me over to Korea. The Vietnam War was going on at the time. But the Army's slow. But I got over there and I decided to make the best of it. And I headed out to go visit the local village. It's pretty amazing. Yeah, these real tiny people over there. And they got these little tiny houses. And I was walking down the street. And if I didn't darn near squash one of those little bitty people. But I missed it. And I managed to stumble off the road and darn if my size 16 boot and go right through the roof of one of those little houses. I'm pretty sure it upset the people inside. I could hear them yelling at me, Godzilla! Godzilla! Oh, for those of you who don't know, that's Korean for Bigfoot. I finally managed to shake the thing off my foot and head back to the camp. I'm pretty sure they got wind of the whole thing back there, though. Because when I got back there, they gave me orders banning me from ever going back to the village. But they did say I could go downtown to the big city of Seoul. So a couple days later, I decided to take them up on that. That's pretty neat. They have big brick buildings down there. I guess they learned the lesson of the third little pig. So I went walking down the street there, and I ran into this gorgeous Korean woman. But being the gentleman I am, after I ran into her, I picked her back up, set her back up on her feet, and she looks up at me and starts screaming, Godzilla! Godzilla! And she goes back down and goes into convulsions, man, and the paramedics had to haul her away, but I was asking around and trying to find out what happened. It turned out
a couple of days before, some big fella had destroyed her house.
Well, I decided after that, this army is not for me. I have to find somebody else. So once again, I got thinking. Sure enough, a brilliant flash, it came to me. I joined the Marines. I reported the Marines. And they looked in the records and they said, according to our records, you're still in the Army. You got to go report back to them. So I go report back to the Army and they go, according to our records, you're in the Marines now. You're their problem now. So I went home. I managed to find the only reverse catch-22 in the Army. But when I got back home, the FBI must have thought I was some sort of security risk or something. Yeah, because every time I go to my mailbox, the mail would arrive later and later, and it would be bent, corners torn, never properly sealed. Like, they didn't give a Phillips head screwdriver whether I knew they were reading my mail or not. Well, I couldn't stand for this. I got to do something about this. Sure enough, that brilliant flash came to me. I could write letters to the guy reading my mail. That'll sure shake him up. At least so I thought, till I told my friend about it, and he pointed out the flaw in my little plan. I didn't know the address of the guy reading my mail. What was I thinking?
Be sure to come to our next show next week. Oh, and please hit subscribe. And if you liked it, hit like. And put in the comments. Let me know where you're at. I'd like to know where our audiences are located. And if you want to be on the show, hit that link down in the comments for the interview. And it'll ask you what celebrity you are and what questions they ask you. Yeah, check it out. Well, okay. See you next time on the Celebrity Comedy Interview Show by Scott Renz.